I want you guys to think about why do you do what you do today. Some of you have jobs, some of you are studying, some of you are looking for jobs, but you have some goals in your life. What drives you to do what you do today? Some of you may be accountants, you may be an actor, you may be a musician, you may pursue arts, you may be a lawyer. Why did you choose that profession? Did you choose that profession because you actually loved doing it, especially when you decide to pursue that path? Or did you actually get into that because either you didn't have a choice, or either you had somebody else coax you into it, or you just thought you'd give it a try. You didn't have any plans for it, right? I'm not judging whether that's right or wrong, but this entire concept came about a decade ago back home in India, when I was involved in career counseling for students pursuing higher studies and for students pursuing jobs after their graduate program. And these were the reasons I was hearing. No one said that I am choosing this profession because I think I can make a difference. I am choosing this profession because I can bring something new to this world. I want to pursue mechatronics or robotics because I can do something different in technology. It was a little weird. I want a change in life. I want to pursue something different. The problem with that is, if you do not know what your path is going to lead you to ultimately, you might end up actually making a mistake. And I myself have gone through my own search for the right career path. I chose a career, I pursued it as much as I can, and then when I felt I reached the place that I wanted to be, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel that I was making use of most of my talents. So that's got me interested to study this topic further, and at Kenzenray we're investing a considerable amount of our resources to study how do people set their aspiration. Now, an aspiration can be defined in so many ways. A simple way to define that would be a future state which you aim for, a future state that you aim to become or experience, and so on. But for the sake of this concept, I'd like you to keep it to a career decision, because that's what you're going to spend all your life on. So let's say an aspiration is going to be your life ambition in a career space. Now let's think about that for a second. At Kenzenray, we had a structured approach, and we didn't actually start this research in a structured manner. I started doing this in my personal time many years back, and then after getting some insights on some discoveries that we made, we had a structured research process in place. We did a couple of interviews of people in different stages of their lives, students, professionals who were successful, professionals who were looking for change. And we started asking them, why do you do what you do? And trying to actually get to the root of what drove their decision. And when we did that, 7 themes emerged, and I'm going to tell that in a minute. But before that, we wanted to validate, are these 7 themes the real drivers behind the aspiration? So we ourselves took a list of 52 professions, and we validated it. Is there any obvious outcome that if you're an actor, that a reason possibly that people might choose that profession could be becoming famous or making a lot of money, right? So we actually validated those 7 themes with about 52 professions to see, are we missing something? Is the 7 themes that came out holistically covered the reasons why someone would choose professions. And finally, what we also did is, once we had the 7 themes nailed down, we tested it with the population, and that's something that we are continuously working on to see what people feel, react, and how they can apply it in their daily lives. And that's what I'm going to introduce you all, the 7 drivers of aspiration. Number 1, not so surprising, is wealth, right? Money. Now, again, this is not a factor to pass a judgment on. When I say money, it doesn't mean greed. Right? We live in a world where resources make a difference. You want to give a good education to your kids, you want a better lifestyle for yourself, there's nothing wrong. So when we say money, it just means that you have this innate tendency to be resourceful, to gather a lot more wealth. And possibly that you're a good person and you would do it for the good reasons. You want to start your business, you would give back to the community, and so on. But wealth is a natural inclination of a person that no matter what he does, his or her ultimate aim is to gather abundance of wealth. The second thing, what we found, and again, this is not in order, I'm just introducing you the 7 themes that's just in the sequence in my mind, is power. The definition of power here means you want to be in a position where you have a strong sphere of influence. You control a lot of resources. You can say that wealth and power go hand in hand, but for the sake of this concept, we have seen examples where power can exist independent of wealth as well. You may be in a great position in a nonprofit where you're not making tons of money, and that's not your goal, but you are in a strong position in the organization that can have a lot of impact in the society, and that can also give weight to your decision in the organization that you work for. So power was one of the other things that came about. People seek is that I want to be in control. I want to have a strong sphere of influence. Now, the third thing that we found was also fame. Some people have this innate tendency to be to want fame. I want to be famous. I want to do something that makes a difference, that people will know me for. They want to leave a legacy behind. So they're always in that journey to see what would accomplish that. Should I become a writer? Should I become a musician? Should I become an actor? And you may not have a talent for all of this. You may be a sports person. You may be an entrepreneur. But you're doing this because your name should be popular for something that you have accomplished. The fourth one that we discovered was also was passion, right? And I know whenever you ask somebody why do you do what you do, they would naturally say, you know, I love what I do. But if you dig deep and probe further, you would find not everybody are happy in their jobs. There are so many research to indicate more than 30% of the United States are disengaged in their, only the 30% are engaged in their workplace, right? There are so many people who are not happy with what they're doing. But there are a few who pursue what they do despite all odds because they're passionate about what they do, right? They really love what they do. I'm pursuing this not because it gives me money, not because it gives me fame, it's just because I love doing it. And sometimes they may not even be making money, right? So that's passion. People pursue something because they love doing it. So we got wealth, power, fame, and passion. The fifth one is what we call impact. When I say impact, it means bringing a positive change to the world. That doesn't necessarily mean community service or doing voluntary work. That's something different. But when I say impact, what we are talking about is you want to be part of positive change. It could be Steve Jobs brought great products into the market, the iPad and the iPhones and the iPods of the world. That made a difference in the world. It enabled people to have a great experience with the device. That is impact. A lot of entrepreneurs create companies that provide jobs. That is impact. A comedian, a stand-up comedian or a comedian in a movie brings laughter and joy to people. So even though you might say that, yeah, he just wants to make money out of what he's doing, may not be. His inside intention would be the fact that he wants to bring joy to everybody else and he or she is making an impact in the world. So there are those kind of people who want to bring about that change, which is what we call impact. The sixth theme that came about is what we call experience. Experience, by what we mean is someone who's open to new experiences, someone who wants to try something. Experienced people are people who love to travel. I know a lot of people love to travel, but experienced people really love to travel. They're open to new experiences. They want to try different things. They seek variety in their lives, right? So it's a very strange bucket wherein, but still there were a certain group of people that we found that they didn't care about money. They didn't care about, in fact, people who were passionate, we found, were very fussy. Passionate people would prefer doing what they like doing. Experienced people would be open to trying new things, right? So that's the experienced group. So we got wealth, power, fame, passion, impact, and experience. That's 6. And the 7th theme that came about is philanthropy. Philanthropy was the only thing, and not surprisingly, whenever we do this test, it ranks the lowest. But there are a few people out there who are purely selfless, and this shows how humanity is, I wouldn't say greedy, but we all seek out to our own growth as well, right? But there is a few group of people who sacrifice everything that they have. It's that selfless nature in them to help the community, to help the society. So these are the people who volunteer, do community service, work for Red Cross, give away a large amount of wealth for the sake of charity, right? A significant portion of what they have for the sake of charity. So that's what we call philanthropy. It's that selfless nature in them. Now, when I've introduced all these 7 themes to you guys, wealth, power, fame, passion, impact, experience, and philanthropy, you might think, well, you know, I'm not just a wealth person, I'm a wealth and a philanthropy person. Yeah, I would like to get more wealth. I would like to buy 2 cars and have all my fancy gadgets at home, but I do give to the community. That's fine. We are not trying to bucket people into one group here. But what we're interested in finding out is that there's a combination of things that drives you to that decision. So let's go ahead and try this. I'll say a profession, and let's see what are the 2 or 3 that we think fits this job, right? So let's start with something common. How about an actor or an actress, a successful actor or an actress in Hollywood? Why do you think they would have pursued that? Fame, okay, fame. Wealth, yeah. Passion, can we agree wealth, fame, and passion? Yeah, maybe for some people, fame might be first. It might be fame first, passion second, wealth third. For some people, it might be passion first, wealth second. I don't care if I'm famous or not. You know, I can even be a side actor or an actress. I just want to be there because I love doing it, and as long as it pays the bill or I'm making a little surplus of money, I'm fine. But you see how certain themes actually fits a profession, but still within that, the priorities of those themes might differ. How about a politician? Right? Usually I go to lectures and ask this question, how about a politician? People immediately go, wealth, power, right? Wealth and power. Or some people, fame as well. But technically, politicians should drive positive change in the society. So you should have impact, at least in your top 3 themes. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. How about a teacher? Do teachers make a lot of money? Most teachers don't, you know. So I've never had a teacher say, I'm a teacher because I make money. Of course, business schools are a little bit different, but most teachers really pursue their professions because of passion and impact. Again, that might change. It may be impact first, passion next, passion first, and impact next. Now, these themes aren't meant to tell you how good you would be in the profession. All we are trying to determine is what drove you to it. What was the drivers behind your aspiration? Some properties of this, right? How we go about using this is that we meet people and we ask them to rank order these themes. In future, we plan to have an app or a self-assessment test which you can take, but really you can just write these 7 themes: wealth, power, fame, passion, impact, experience, and philanthropy on the board. Arrange them in what you feel is your order of preference. First thing to remember is that it's not something that's fixed. It may change. We don't see it change so often, but every few years it changes. You might have gone through some experiences in your life that changes your priority. You know, I thought of becoming famous, but I think I'm beyond that, you know. Your priorities may shift. So a simple exercise people can do is to just look at these 7 themes. No theme is bad. Every theme here is to the degree of which is a positive growth to yourself. So you can want to be famous, you can want to be rich, as long as you're a good person and don't harm anybody in the process, that's fine. And each of these themes occur in combination, right? And there might be also situations that you might actually, you know, if you're not having a job, you're not going to be so choosy or passionate, be wanting to do only the things that you love. You would take whatever you can get, but if you are a passion person, you would stay there just until you find the right opportunity. If you're a wealth person, you might actually pursue the opportunity that gives you the best return. I have this definition that I call, I state for entrepreneurs. There are 2 kinds of entrepreneurs based on these themes. One I call the dispassionate entrepreneurs and the passionate entrepreneurs. Passionate entrepreneurs are people who start a business and pursue it purely because they love what they do, right? They love the mission, they love the cause, they love what they're trying to bring to the world. Passionate entrepreneurs would persevere it much more harder. The downside of a passionate entrepreneur is even if it's clear that this idea is not working, they would kind of continue on and give it their best shot still. Dispassionate entrepreneurs, however, and again when I say dispassionate, it means that they are not very picky about what they're doing, right? They are people who are really opportunistic, and where they find the value for the effort and return, they would go there. So that's where, if you look at an entrepreneur, passion and wealth may be in top, and wealth may not be in top for some, passion may not be top for some, right? So that's how these properties work. They work in combination, they're separate from each other. So I would encourage all of you all to do this exercise yourself. Write these in a cards. You can pick a lot of content through our site. Visit us as www.kenzenray.com, or we are also coming up with a dedicated website for this concept, aspirationdrivers.com, where you can get a paper. We presented this in a research conference in London last year, and really use some tools, or even yourself write it out in a paper, arrange all of this, and see if this is reflective of you. This predicts short-term behavior, short-term decision. For example, a person who has a high experience, when I say high experience, it means experience is one of his or her top 3 themes. So experienced person is just open to things. An impact person would be having a strong cause. A wealth person is someone who can take advantage of an opportunity and maximize that to the best. A passionate person is someone who pursues what they love. So often when I do coaching based on this tool, when I see passion on top 3, I always check for wealth, because it's a traditional artist scenario that you want to be a painter or a musician. You may or may not yet be at the peak of your success, but because you're passionate about it, just because you're not earning money from it, you would still pursue it, and therefore guide them around what they need to be aware of. If passion is high, wealth is low, watch out, buddy. Don't get yourself into trouble. Make sure your basics are met. So the future of this is, we're going to do more research on this, but anybody who wants to know, who wants coaching based on this, you want to read up some articles that we would be coming up with shortly, please, I encourage you to do so. And I hope this tool would increase the level of self-awareness in you, so that you decide more clearly the true reason why you pursue what you do in your life.